Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're starting the video off a little bit differently. We are going to start off with the wear test of this fragrance. Why am I doing a wear test, you're probably asking? It's because it's a rose scent, and sometimes with rose fragrances we typically get lots of longevity and performance and sillage and trail and all that good stuff, and sometimes we get none of that. So is this one of those fragrances that we're going to get longevity and performance with, or is it not? Let's check it out. So here I have Rose Kabuki. This is from the La Collection Privée of Christian Dior. This was actually launched under, whenever they renamed the line into La Maison Christian Dior, and then they changed it from La Maison Christian Dior back to La Collection Privée. And we saw a few different fragrances launched that were kind of like this botanical, gardeny type of vibe. This is one of them. We also have Rose Gypsy. We have Lucky, Happy Hour, Belle de Jour, I think was one of them. I might be wrong about that one. But anywho, here we have Rose Kabuki, and this is what the bottle looks like. So it's exactly the same as any other bottle that, comes from this collection itself. The liquid is kind of a pinky, peachy rose. It looks like an actual rose color. It's not going to be anything super vibrant or colorful. So I'm going to spray this onto the warm points of my actual body. So here on the forearms, kind of just letting it dry out. By the way, you're not supposed to, you can actually tap the fragrances. This is the proper way to actually, distribute it from one spot to another. You're not supposed to, however, rub the fragrance, because whenever you rub the fragrance, you are bruising the notes. And what that does, it makes it dry down very differently. So it doesn't necessarily ruin the fragrance, but it's not going to give you the true definition of what the fragrance was intended to smell like. I have to say, upon first spray with this one, because it's my second time smelling it, I got to smell it when I first received the package for this one. It's not anything super groundbreaking. It kind of reminds me of Gardenia Antigua by Armani Privée. I mean, that's just one fragrance that I think it smells like. I mean, it's not identical. This is a rose fragrance, that's a Gardenia fragrance, but they kind of have the same vibe to them, which is going to be very floral, kind of fresh floral type of fragrance. It's nothing super groundbreaking, I'm going to be honest with you. Is it worth the price point? Well, that's up to you to decide. And we're going to spray some on my actual clothes. I like to do it on the neck points. I also like to do it on the clothes because it transmits and sticks onto the clothes itself. That's how I typically get the best longevity and performance when it comes to a fragrance. And like I said, it's going to be a more feminine fragrance. So for me, it's probably not going to be my daily wearing fragrance. Rose Kabuki was launched in 2018. It's an eau de parfum, obviously. It is a François Dimaschi creation. It doesn't specify where the rose is from. So it doesn't say if it's Bulgarian, May, if it is Turkish rose, or any of that information. It just says rose on here. It kind of has a vibe of Bulgarian rose, or it could also be Damascus rose because it kind of has a sweetness to it. It also contains musk in here, and you do get that musky quality. It's kind of like, it's really weird. I should probably bring this out here. So it kind of has a similarity to this one here, but I think like Miss Dior, the Eau de Parfum, the new one, has a little bit more depth. It has a little bit more depth, and it's not as clean as Rose Kabuki, but I mean, they're kind of in that same field of fresh floral fragrances. I do like fresh floral fragrances. Now, for this price point, do I think it's worth it? Probably not. When we're spending this much money, we want something that's very creative and groundbreaking. At least I do. So I'm just off of that itself, I'm not a big fan. The third note that it lists on here is dewdrops. So which dewdrops is going to be a synthetic component because you can't recreate dewdrops in nature. I don't think it actually has a smell to it. But anywho, so we get rose, musk, and dewdrops in this fragrance. Is it good? Is it not? It's a nice scent. I'll give you that. It's fresh, it's clean, it's musky, it's rosy. And I feel like there's other floral components in this fragrance itself that they're not letting us know about, but it is what it is. It is currently 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I will check in with you at 4 o'clock to let you know how the fragrance is wearing, and we will see if it's still kicking, if it's not going. or if I have to reapply it, because I feel like this is one of those fragrances that I will have to reapply because it being musk, dewdrops, and rose, all three things that I don't think are going to be long lasting, we might have to reapply this fragrance. So I'll check in with you at 4 o'clock and we will see then how the fragrance is wearing. Hello, we're doing a quick check-in here for the fragrance of Rose Kabuki. I'm actually a little bit late. It is 4:30 and yeah, so I'm sorry. I just wanted to check in with you to let you know that it's dissipated. I can still smell it very, very faintly. It's kind of, dwizzled off. You really can't smell it that much anymore, unfortunately. And it's probably a fragrance that I'll have to reapply. This is a problem though. For the price point that this fragrance does cost, it should last a little bit longer because we tried it at 2 o'clock, I believe. It's 4:30. That means 2 hours and 30 minutes. And the fragrance is now a skin scent. I kind of had this thought about the fragrance originally because, like I said, it is a musk, dewdrop, and a rose fragrance, which none of those are known for being super long lasting scents. But let's reapply it and then let's go towards the end of the day and see how it wears and all that stuff. I wanted to show you something. Let's try this. So and this is Gardenia Antigua. It's really funny. They're not the same. I'm going to be transparent about that. I don't think they're the same fragrance, but they could be out of the same brand. In fact, they could be flankers of each other. So it could be Rose Kabuki from Armani Privée, and they would, smell very similar to each other. Yeah, they're kind of similar. They're giving similar vibes. So I guess if you want to get, something like Rose Kabuki, but you don't like rose, then probably try Gardenia Antigua by Giorgio Armani, or Armani Privée, I'm sorry. They are very much similar fragrances. So let's check in at 6:30 since we're 30 minutes late and see how the fragrance is wearing, if it develops, if it changes, or if we have to reapply it once again. So I am late again. It is 7 o'clock and I'm doing the check-in for the fragrance of Rose Kabuki by Christian Dior. And it's there. Um, if you remember from the last check-in, I actually sprayed Gardenia Antigua on the right-hand side, and that one's actually lasting a little bit longer than Rose Kabuki. The interesting thing about that is that Rose Kabuki is in Eau de Parfum, and Gardenia Antigua by Armani Privé is in Eau de Toilette. So that should say a lot. But it's a very fresh floral fragrance. I don't think anyone has the expectation of longevity with these fragrances. So it is very normal for it to be a very soft, subdued fragrance. I think that the target audience that it's going for doesn't really want a very heavy scent, and because of that, they are limited to what they can do with longevity and performance. But that isn't to say that the price is ridiculous for it. It is very expensive. So let's get back to the review. This one was launched aside to a lot of other fragrances in this range that are a little bit, I want to say they're kind of bland, and they kind of lost direction as to what the La Collectioj Privée was supposed to represent. So if you don't know anything about private lines, most of them have symbolism to the actual couture house for these luxury brands. So for example, Chanel has like Misia, which represents her good friend. They have Boy, which represents her lover. You have houses like Yves Saint Laurent, which name their things after clothing pieces like tuxedo, jumpsuit, caftan. And they're all supposed to have some sort of symbolism to the house of couture that they are representing. And when they changed it to La Maison Christian Dior from La Collectioj Privée, they started to just name them after the notes that they were, kind of representing. So they came out with fragrance names like Happy Hour. They came out with fragrance names like Holy Peony and Rose Gypsy, which I think gypsy is a derogatory term. If I'm incorrect, let me know down in the comments. But this one is called Rose Kabuki. It was launched in 2018. The perfumer for this fragrance is Francois Dimashi. And according to the Dior website, it says that this fragrance is inspired by Mr. Dior's inspiration of the Japanese culture and arts. The fragrance is meant to be a silky floral gourmand creation. It's supposed to be like a kimono of musks that is essentially embroidered with rose petals. And I can see that vibe. But at the same time, I'm kind of thinking, why did we need this fragrance in this collection that is inspired off of Japanese culture? Because we have Sakura, which is a cherry blossom fragrance. It's also inspired from Mr. Dior's inspirations of the Japanese culture because he was a big fan of Japanese culture essentially. And this one is it kind of doesn't make sense. I mean, in my opinion, there's a couple of other rose fragrances in this range. For example, we have La Colle Noir, which is supposed to represent one of his homes, and that one is a rose fragrance. And that one is it's not the most groundbreaking fragrance anymore, La Colle Noir, but it has a symbolism to the House of Dior, and it's really beautiful. It's a very light, delicate floral fragrance. It has like a rose water type of vibe to it, but it has depth and it has creativity and it has character. And I'm not here saying that this one itself doesn't. The issue with this one for me is it comes off a little generic for the price point. And what I mean by that is this fragrance I know will be loved and cherished, and it'll become a lot of people's signature scent because it is likable. It is a rose fragrance with dewdrops. If you don't know what dewdrops are, they're essentially little water droplets or mucus on a rose petal or on a rose flower. And we also have musk. So we have three very soft, delicate type of notes. Rose in here is very soft, it's very delicate, and it kind of gets lost in this, translation of a floral fragrance. And what I mean by that is that the musk kind of eats up the rose, and it's more of a musk fragrance that is wrapped around with roses, and it's not a very distinctive rose fragrance. Overall, kind of smells. I don't know if anyone remembers back in the day when you used to get a magazine, and it was a Vogue or a W or an Elle magazine, and you used to flip through the pages of the actual magazine. They had these like little strips that you would open up and sniff the perfume, and they never smelled like the perfume that they were trying to make you smell. They kind of had this glue floralness, muskiness to it because it's not the same thing. The fragrance has essentially dried out and dissipated, so you're just getting very, very small traces of the fragrance. That's what this smells like to me. It smells like a fragrance that was, very fresh and floral and fun and vibrant, that kind of has dissipated to me. And it's not a good thing whenever you're speaking about a fragrance that is costing you $330 for this size. So the price point for this, yes, is $330 for 125 mils or 4.25 ounces, which is the one that I have here today. They also do offer you a larger size, which is going to be $450, and that is going to be 250 mils or 8.5 fluid ounces. So it's double the size of this one. I don't know. What do you guys think of this fragrance? I do think it's nice. I do think it's a very beautiful floral fragrance. I don't think it reckons the price. Not to say that the fragrance is not something that you won't like. I think that someone that's younger, someone that's new to fragrance will probably appreciate this fragrance because it's easy, it's easygoing. It's a fragrance that you can go to and say, I like it. It's a good fragrance to start your collection, although I would start with other ones from this range itself. So let me know down in the comments if you've tried Rose Kabuki. Also, let me know down in the comments if you would like a review of Gypsy Rose or Rose Gypsy. Isn't that the name of the girl who went unalived her mom? I'm not sure. But I think it's called Rose Gypsy or Gypsy Rose, and it's from the La Collectioj Privée as well. Let me know if you would like to see a fragrance review of that one. I can, check it out. I can purchase it and try it for you on this channel. Anywho, make sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe for more fragrance-related content. Until next time, take care. Bye.